when adding or subtracting real numbers, the easiest way to think about this is if we're adding numbers with the same sign, meaning two positive or two negative numbers, what we want to do is we want to look at it from the absolute value perspective. So we would take the absolute value of both and add them. So we'll take the absolute value of both, add together, and keep the common sign. For example, if we have something like 3 plus 2, well, those are both absolute value here, that's 5. What if we have negative 3 plus negative 2? Well, taking the absolute value here, we look at 3 plus absolute value of negative 2, which means we have 3 plus 2, which is 5, but they're both negative, so now we have to remember to attach the negative sign. If we have different signs, then what we want to do there is take the absolute value of the smaller from the larger, using the larger absolute value numbers sign. Meaning, if we're saying something like that, if we have 3 plus negative 4, right? We can take absolute value here. Absolute value of 3 is 3, the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So if we take the absolute value of the smaller number, which is 3, and subtract it from 4, we get 1, but then we have to use the sign of the larger number, the larger absolute value, which is our negative 4. So 3 plus negative 4, we have negative 1. Negative 3 plus 7. Now again, take the absolute value of 3 and the absolute value of 7. We're going to subtract those, we get 4. 7 is the larger absolute value, so this would be positive answer. So when we're looking at this and subtracting, it's the same way, pretty much, except in subtracting one little thing we need to remember. If we're seeing something like a minus b, or one number minus the second number, that's the same as saying that number plus the negative of the second number. So 3 minus 2 is the same as 3 plus negative 2. So here's a little bit about adding and subtracting real numbers here. We'll be talking about multiplying and dividing later. Good one. Bye.